St. Peter United, and welcome to Coffee Hour. Y'all come on in the room. I'm going to make sure that we get this
in the room.
in the room. I'm going to make sure we get this shared out everywhere.
Share.
Coffee Hour.
Well, I'm not connected, so I won't play with my phone.
I know the Wi-Fi be funny. What a great service.
It was an awesome service.
I thought it was such a good service.
And to put a bow on the series, it was absolutely perfect.
Absolutely.
It works if you do it. It
works if you
won't
work it.
if you don't.
Coffee Hour, St. Peter United. All right, I think we're kind of shared. I'm just letting
Yes.
people join. So what a service. I'm just so glad to everyone. Thank you to everyone in the music team. Latriva,
Hey,
you are such a blessing.
you're a blessing.
Just in the music, you're just such a blessing.
Grateful.
Just the way
Thank
that you pray and your presence.
Thank you. So
couldn't
I
do
was
this.
thinking about church today when Leslie was preaching, just what it just feels so safe here. Like it
Yes.
just feels really good. You can
Yeah.
just truly be your authentic self. And I'm just really grateful for St. Peter.
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot here that the ministry has to offer in terms of what we give to people, but just even in terms of family. Like
Right.
even at the end of the service is, we are all family. And
Right.
so the fact that that's genuinely how it feels
Yep.
is so beautiful. and
Yeah,
rare.
I love that
So
we
I'm
tell that
grateful.
story
Yeah.
during, during service, definitely. So definitely want to dive into stuff even pertaining to you. So one of the
Oh,
things,
gosh.
I'm going to do it. So, Leslie talked about how, it works if you work it and
Yes.
evidencing yourself. And I feel like you are starting to take some steps in your life to evidence and manifest what you're trying to bring about. So we'd love for you to,
Definitely.
what you can share. Talk to us about what you see for your podcast empire that's about to take
I know,
over
right?
this
I
world.
received that. I don't know. I just know that for the first time, I am doing what I desire.
Ooh.
And so it's like, I want to do acting. I want to do all of these things, but truly, I want to have conversations. I just like talking to people. I like getting to know their stories. I like being able to share different perspectives and get different perspectives. So to finally be in a place where I'm terrified because I don't really know if anybody out there cares what I have to say or cares what I think about. I'm just saying, when you're thinking about putting content out, that's a part of that reticence,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
you're like, is it just going to be me and my cousin that's listening to this because we're the only two people that really be talking about this? Or is it going to manifest and be interesting to other people?
Yeah.
So I am finally launching into the deep, I guess. And so our podcast, we're building content around that. So in addition to being able to do the radio show with Stunner Radio on Saturdays, I am working with a couple of different friends. We have one where we're going to be talking about it's called The Straight Curve. I can give that name.
Okay.
But there's a straight guy that I'm going to be talking about who's super alpha, or talking to. He's my co-host who's super alpha male. And every conversation is like, we're going to have to hug this out at the end because I don't know if we really are going to have a relationship after this
Wow.
podcast. It's super.
Alpha male, you're saying toxic
Absolutely.
And you're calling him on
Absolutely.
that. Toxic
Absolutely. And he stands up in it. He's
wow.
just like, oh no, my kid's gonna fear me. And I'm like,
wow.
what's the benefit of having your children afraid of you? And then at 18, when they don't fear you and they hate you and you
Right.
want to know why your kids don't want a relationship,
Kirk
don't be
Franklin.
mad at the world,
Right.
speak.
Yeah.
So, it's been very interesting, but he was not the person that I thought I was going to do it with. So
Yeah.
the things that we have been able to create in the last week have just been really outstanding for
Wow.
us. And then, I'm a TV person. I'm a reality show TV person, and I torture my wife. She knows all of the shows and all the people only because I make her watch it with me. And so she was like, you need some friends. So I have decided to just kind of do my reality recaps with all
Love
of
that.
you guys.
Love that. What would be included in these?
Oh my
realities?
gosh! So I watch Married at First Sight.
Okay.
What were you about
No,
to say?
go ahead. Keep going.
Love and Marriage Huntsville.
Okay.
Of course, all the Real Housewives things. I'm getting into Drag Race. Like I told you, I'm
Yes.
season 9.
Yes.
That's where I am in real life, and the rest of you are on season 75.
13. Yes.
But reality TV is kind of where I get my like I have 90% on my recorder because I have all the things I want to catch up on. So that gets me super excited. And then all things, lesbian, gay, I want us to be able to be free having our voices out there and representing what that even looks like, because there are some, stereotypes around that. And I'm like, okay, no, there's, so many different ways. And then there's a lot in that in being, I don't even know how to say it, but just being gay and being in the community, there's a lot that I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that I've been afraid to say because I didn't want to say it wrong and offend someone.
Yep.
And then, if my straight friends are looking at me for answers, I don't want to be the one that doesn't know.
Yep.
So, I want to be able to have conversations where we can also learn about the diversity within the LGBTQ community.
Absolutely.
So there's so many different things that I'm interested in that I was just like, let me just get started and see where it goes.
That is so exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
your
it.
passion's clear. Like you were like bubbling that this is what you should be doing.
And it's hard to believe because it is just what I do.
Yeah.
And when you hear people talking about making their dreams come true or following a passion, and a lot of times it's like, I just kind of did what I love to do, and it made room for me.
Yeah.
It just never made sense to me that somebody would really, other than the people that I have a relationship with, would really care to hear. And at this point, I'm like, I don't know if y'all care or not, but I know that I want to do this, and I want to see what kind of contributions I can make. And so I've been doing that.
I love that. And I love because, like, literally, for y'all that don't know, when we rehearse on Tuesdays, when Latriva comes, she is a conversation starter. So, like, she'll get here early, and she'll listen to what we're talking about, and then she hits us with, like, a question.
I'm like,
so we're, like, podcasting in there. And the best is, honestly, when it's her and Isaiah
Oh,
in the
my
same
gosh.
room
That
talking,
is
'cause
my
he
little
is-
gem. Because I'm sitting here like, whoa, bro, hold on. Well, what about this?
Yes,
so,
all
and
the
having
time.
that younger perspective is so refreshing.
It is so refreshing.
Yeah.
You brought up reality shows. Mine is
What is it?
Married to Medicine. That's
Oh,
like
I
my
forgot
show.
about that because it just came back
Just came
on.
back on.
That's my junk.
Oh, my
Simone and
goodness.
what's going to happen with Simone and Jackie, Lord?
I want them to make up.
I need them to make up, but I need them to talk about what it really
Yes,
is.
absolutely, and call it out
And get it done.
I always tell people I feel like Simone and Toya are the girls that I have cocktails with them all week.
Absolutely.
Jackie, I see once a week for tea.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then
I think once a month after sorority meeting.
yes. Heavenly, we really don't. I don't really chill with Heavenly.
Heavenly is the one where she's in the circle, and so you see her when the circle gets together, but you already have prepared yourself
To be in her presence.
and you're like, I'm either gonna tip out or I'm gonna, come back for her.
Yeah.
But after year 5, you're just like, I don't have it.
I don't have it.
I don't
Yeah.
have it.
Sorry, y'all. We're nerding out on
Yes.
reality TV.
Yes.
So as you evidence, he talked about evidencing the principles that he talked about. One of my favorite principles he talked about was the affirmative prayer piece is something that really got me. And that's something, to me, you are such a prayer warrior.
Thank you.
You and Danny
Yes.
are such prayer warriors. Where do you, because sometimes I don't know what to, I feel like sometimes when I pray out loud, even before service, I kind of stumble because I think I have prayer envy. I want them to be as free-flowing and pretty as you and Danny's, but it doesn't come out the same.
Right.
Where do you go to get the words that you like? Because I feel like you go somewhere and you go. It is
Right.
just like, wow.
I honestly, it was. I remember starting when I was young, so probably 13, 14. And I remember in church being very impressed by the deacons, right? So they would get on their knee and, oh, Father God,
thank you,
and
Father.
go in. And I was
Yeah.
just like, I can't pray like that. Like, I don't remember all of the things because it felt like they had a list of things that they would,
Yes.
call God by, and there were these very official titles. So it just felt really, not distant, but it felt like I was supposed to follow a script, and I didn't know how to do that. So my mom bought me a book called Prayers That Availeth Much, and it just had different prayers for different situations. And so if I was struggling with a test, and it was like prayers that avail much for teens, prayers that avail much for women, so kind of specific to what that group might be praying for. And, those prayers kind of helped me to see see prayer as conversation for real.
Got it. Okay.
And so, practicing those and just kind of using those because I didn't always have the words. So having that as a go-to kind of helped me to craft what I wanted to say. And so as I grew and had my own issues, I legit was just, and then not having a parent, that was a big deal. Like it was kind of like, I'm talking to God because I need somebody to talk to. And, so I think it started with those prayers that avail much, and then I just developed a conversation sort of thing, and then what I desire is kind of what I pray through.
Yeah.
So if I'm hurting or if I need peace, then I'm just calling those elements of God into my understanding so that I can tap into and hold on to those things because that's what I'm needing at that moment.
Got it. Okay. How has your prayer life, and because your wife is very spiritual and on a ministry path, how has your prayer life changed as she's come into your life, and do y'all pray together? I can't imagine what that's like. In fact, I kind of want to experience that one day. So like, how is that?
We have prayed together in the past. We're not as diligent about that right now, but you're right. There have been those moments, especially in the morning before we would leave, when we were physically going back to campus, we would cover each other because there were just so many things and we're not on the same campus.
Yeah.
So it's like, let me, I know what's happening for you. We have this going on. Let me cover you. And it has enhanced because I would sometimes remember to pray for others, like directly, like Marcus asked me to pray for him, Leslie asked me to pray for him. I would sometimes have those, but having a spouse, it's like I have specific things that I know that God wants, her to be able to have as covering, and those are the things that I intentionally pray around.
Yeah.
And same for her. Like I appreciate that because I deal with depression and anxiety. I appreciate that I've seen that her prayers for me are around peace of mind and peace for my heart and peace for, just letting me see who I am. And I've just noticed how even with her prayers they've cultivated. So absolutely having a spouse or somebody that you are covering and praying for helps, to create that prayer life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are some tips you would give someone who's trying to find better ways to connect through prayer? What would you suggest?
That's funny because I'm trying to find better ways to connect through prayer.
Mind blown.
And really. And, because there are things that with this podcast thing, like there was so much fear, so much doubt, so much trepidation, so much just like, I don't have the space, I don't know how to do this, that even in my prayers, I didn't feel like I was saying the right things. And so I'm trying to...
You're so pointed in your prayers.
And
that's fascinating.
Yeah, thank you. And so I was like, okay, God, how can I get more quiet so that I can hear you? Because I talk a lot. And so I want to be able to hear and also receive. Like, I want to hear you and know what you're saying and then know how to move.
Yeah. Oh.
And so that's kind of where I am now. So for me right now, it's just getting quiet, like getting into my prayer space, wherever that might be, and just breathing and getting quiet and, not talking to God audibly. And so it's like, how do I speak with my heart? How do I hear with my heart? And it's just been, and I don't know where that comes from. It's just been, I try to do what's organic and feels good.
Yeah.
And so that's, light an incense and just kind of breathe because it smells good. And
Yeah.
so it helps a lot. And so I've found that in terms of quieting that anxiety of what am I supposed to do today? I know I need to do something today. I need blah, 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 blah. And so that's been helpful for me, but it's transitioned from how I normally pray.
Wow. You are just so deeply spiritual. Where does that come from? Is it your mom, or is it, was it cultivated during the loss of
it was
mom?
introduced with my mom and our faith. We grew up and you were going to church. And so
You're in one of those homes.
It was Sunday school. She wasn't a BTU. After 3, we were free. After 3, we were free. You could do you. But, she recognized that I had a voice, so you're going to choir rehearsal. She recognized, Bible stuff, so we did like BTU and not BTU, but what are those? Sunday school.
Yeah.
We did did Sunday school and then regular church, but she worked for a number of years up until I was 9. And then she got sick and she developed a brain tumor and she could no longer work. And so at that point, she became more active in the church. So it's like she got into mission and those sorts of things because she was home during the day and could get involved.
Yeah.
And so at that point is when I started to talk to her about like the Bible because she was there and we could talk.
Yeah.
And so after she passed away when I was 16, God was literally all I had. I lived with my sister, but we were not very close. Like, we did not really talk. And literally living in a home for 18 years when you felt like and realized you were a problem. So, make yourself as small as possible, but you need an outlet, and mine was God, and mine was prayer, and mine was, gospel music. And so having that as my foundation, then going into the world, I'm 18, going to college, I don't know any of this stuff. It just kind of had to sustain me. Something had to sustain me. So that was pretty much it. And then when I got in these streets and started doing me, God was like, all right, I got you, but, you're running amok, kid. But I was so grateful that when I did, start to whisper those prayers again, that he wasn't far from me. She wasn't far from me. Spirit wasn't far from me.
Got it. Leslie says, we all have the gift of prayer. It just has to be cultivated. Read scripture, listen to your favorite songs for inspiration. In prayer, we remind ourselves, ourselves of the goodness of God and bring forth possibility. Shelby says, we are what we do daily. I need to get better about praying with intention. Yes, Shelby, I have to get better about, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not spending like time and like cultivating, because it feels like for you, like it seems like with the cadence of your prayer and the way that you could do things, it seems like it is a practice or something that you do. So that's something I do want to work on. And Leslie says, Latriva, this is why I'm pushing affirmative prayer. It's a new form of for a lot of us, an opportunity to be creative in prayer, to shake us out of tradition.
We
need all forms of prayer.
That's
that is good. That
Absolutely.
Is good. Yeah.
And that it's one thing that I want to be able to do is have several different things in my arsenal, because Spirit might be calling us to participate with it in a particular way.
Yes.
And so if I am used to, Father God, how do I know? And Spirit is saying, come and just be with me. Come and just rest with me. It might be as simple as lie here, breathe, and you sleep for an hour, because that is how God wants to be with you.
Wow.
And so I am trying to, I don't know all the ways, so the affirmative prayer is definitely beautiful. Like, that truly blessed me today, but I receive that there are because we're different. Like, I need some good rap music just as much as I need a good gospel word. I need Miranda Curtis's The Blessing just as much as I need None of Your Business, because you don't need to know what's in my playlist.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that because God is so rich and so beautiful and so vast, that as many different ways as I can find to access him or her, I want to create that. So yes, that intentional is absolutely
That's
right.
good. That's good. Yeah, I find that, like, even in my musical taste, God shows up in Megan Thee Stallion,
baby,
and God shows up in Tina, of course. Like, it's just everywhere I can find pieces of God and things like that. I like that subject, music. What are some music?
I was like,
what's some music that, like, so gospel grounds you, rap grounds you.
Absolutely.
What else? Like,
of course, soul. I've been in my Luther Vandross bag for a while.
I need to open some
so
Luther.
It's like Bad Boy singing. Bad Boy having a party is my theme right now. I don't know what that's about, but I don't care what wife is doing. We're about to cut a rug as soon as I put that on. And so it's something about the stories that music tells, especially black music.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's a lot there. Some of it's fun. I was listening to a podcast last night where somebody was like, well, I don't really like that artist because they're not trying to tell me, anything deep about blackness. Sometimes it's just fun.
I just want to have fun.
Sometimes it's just socially
inappropriate.
Sometimes I just want to laugh.
Yes.
And there's creation in that. Like, there are creatives who are given that gift just as well as something that can move you or teach you or whatever. But I feel like with gospel music specifically, the fact that it's rooted in scripture just reinforces and takes us back to a place of, you know, relationship with God and just
Right.
kind of reminding us of certain things.
Absolutely.
But music is a part of communicating.
Yep.
Music is a way to communicate.
Yep.
And I love it. It just
For
does
me,
all the
it's
things.
like while Tina is my
Mm-hmm.
main music, really R&B and trap music is like
Absolutely.
really what does it for me. But you know what else good does it for me?
What?
Issa Rae did this. She does podcasting.
yeah.
and
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
So she has this like radio show on Apple Music.
Okay.
Where she like just kind of talks through music. So she did this whole playlist about 90s alternative rock.
Come
that
through
coffee
like
house-
Zombie.
like Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
Like she was like the white music that like I
Alanis,
rocked with.
yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and I shouldn't say white because Leslie just looked up to me. I'm saying rock music, but that was how she titled it. She was
Right.
like, but like it brought me back to like,
That's
yes,
real.
Alanis,
That's real.
Three Doors Down.
Yes.
Like that was my.
Yes.
That
What
was
is it, the
my coming of age.
Cranberries?
The Cranberries.
Yes.
That was my coming of
Yes,
age.
that was absolutely. I remember that. That just took me to 1995, Prairie View, the Village, upstairs, third room apartment. Absolutely, that just took me all the way
Just
there.
rocking out.
and that was it. Alanis was everything.
Alanis is like.
Because we were so, what is it called? Angsty.
Yes.
And so she was the angsty music person.
Yes.
But even for her music to be able to reach me,
Yes,
little
yes.
good gospel girl,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I was surprised that I had a connection
Yes.
to that. But yeah, I want to hear that.
I have
So
to
is
send that
her?
to you.
Okay, please.
It's like her whole playlist, but she goes through it like
Please.
talking about it. But all this music that like I connect to that.
Yeah.
'Cause some days during the week, I'm 90s
Yeah,
alternative.
yeah.
Like I said, Goo Goo Dolls, Three Doors Down, Third Eye Blind. Like
Yep.
that's my space I'm in. But also like, I really think that I also have that appreciation because of Tina Turner because she's just always been rooted in rock and roll.
Right.
And so I've always been able to
Oh,
like
that's
appreciate and
good.
identify that.
That's
Yeah,
good.
growing up, what was so weird about being the kid that like Tina was most of my other like black friends, they were Aretha, Whitney. I'm trying to think who was big then. Aretha, Whitney,
Yeah.
Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle.
But when we came out, that was the what era for Tina? So if for me, because
Yeah.
I wasn't as familiar with Tina, so for me during that era, it was legit. What's love got to do?
So I was gonna say, so I was gonna get there. So what I realize is for culture, I think that Tina hit people's consciousness with the movie What's Love Got to
Right,
Do With It.
right.
That helped people kind of know her.
Right.
For me, I had known her because she's always been like my fave since I
Got
was
it.
young. But my friends of that time, they were more like us, Patti LaBelle,
Right.
Whitney, and those people. And so it
Right.
was always kind of odd that I was the
Anita.
Tina. Anita.
Yeah.
I was always kind of the odd Tina Turner fan.
Yeah.
And I feel like I didn't get street cred until What's Love
I
Got to
feel
Do With It
that. I
came
feel
out.
that.
When that came out, they're
I
like,
feel
oh.
that. And they were like, well, what else?
Yes.
You're like, baby, I've been waiting on this.
I've been waiting to show y'all the beauty of this
Yeah,
woman.
yeah.
So
I can see
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I
But
can see that.
but what she's done is like, I just find it amazing the way that she's
Mm-hmm.
been able to really make as a black woman in rock and roll, like just own that and go
You've
with
made
that.
her exciting for me. Like when HBO made their announcement, it's HBO Showtime.
Yeah, it's on
HBO
next
made their
Saturday.
announcement. I was like that's how it went.
Yeah.
Like I went completely silent because I was like Marcus in 5, 4, 3, and then Facebook lit up.
Yes,
So I
yes.
was like, baby, we gotta watch this for
Yes,
Marcus. So we're
yes.
gonna have a whole shout out for you. But legit, I didn't until that last year with the Herstory
Yeah.
Black History segment.
Yeah.
I didn't, and then finding out your love for Diane Carroll and Tina Turner through
Yeah.
that, I had no idea as far as the depth. So thank you for introducing me to this icon.
Yeah, of course. I just think music is just such a universal language. It's one of those things that speak to us. Even the music we do here, I love that like we do gospel praise and worship, but I also like that our band really brings like they can sometimes rock out on some of the gospel, and I like what the guitar gives. And
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's just this musicality that
Absolutely.
Like, really
it
plays
adds a
difference.
flavor because it's like when you've heard the album, because we do it singing wise,
Yes.
right? When you've heard the music, you are trying to kind of emulate that. But when you have just sort of a I'm going to be a musician in this moment with this stuff.
Yeah.
It adds a different thing when they're doing their own original things.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're back in school. You're back?
No,
oh, wait.
baby, we had a 2-week spring break. Thank you
Oh,
so
come
much.
on, 2 weeks. I know you were
So,
cartwheeling.
I am on day 6 tomorrow. So please hear me and understand. So last week was sleep week.
Okay.
And this is play week.
Okay,
So
good.
we actually have 3 days this week, and teachers go back on Thursday and Friday.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
kids come back on Monday.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you're doing that. How has, as the world is opening and you've been teaching in the schools, has there been some, like, is there less anxiety, or do you feel like kids are still in this place of, what the hell is going on?
I teach online. So
Okay.
I've been
Okay.
online since
The pandemic.
March,
Okay.
since last year. And I think maybe the week before spring break was actually the first time I was back in the building, period. With children, I had gone because I needed to, I have a mentee and I was going to observe her.
Okay.
And so I'd gone back to campus. It's probably not quite 2/3, somewhere between 1/3 and 2/3 full. And then they ended up having a fire drill while I was there. So, we go out, the kids are outside, the air was fresh, the sun was beaming. It was so quiet and everything was so organized. I was like, I could go back to school. I could do this.
Yeah.
And then when I went back in, I was like, this is only 1/3 of the children. So when you add 1,200, because that's our capacity.
Oh my
I'm sorry, not 1,200, 800, because that's the capacity. That changes everything.
Yes.
So then, once I got home, I was like, well, let me make sure that that they have parameters and
Yeah.
things that they're trying to set up, because I really believe that if not first term next year, definitely by spring of next year, they're going to be wanting everyone to come back once
Yeah.
they figured out how to vaccinate children,
Yeah.
and they're going to do that part. So we're taking steps because we know that it's eventually going to get back there. And
Yeah.
if this radio thing doesn't jump off and save me from education, then I'm
It's
going
gonna
to be
jump off.
going to back.
It's
Thank
gonna
you, I
jump off.
received
We
that.
were receiving that.
And so, we've actually gone. We signed up for the vaccine. We went ahead and got our first dose of the vaccine because we know that we also are getting stir crazy.
Yeah.
And so my wife has been extremely, extremely cautious. She basically does not leave the house unless she has to.
Yeah.
And even she was like, all right, we need to plan a vacation. We need to figure this out because it's time. And so we are trying to do what we can do. So we know we're going to still mask up. We know we're still going to have sanitizer and those sorts of things.
Yep.
And we're trying to cover ourselves as much as possible.
Yep.
But inevitably, we're going to have to go back into this situation. And I'm hoping that they are going to continue taking precautions for children and families,
Yeah.
teachers, so that families can continue to be safe.
One of the things that you and I have talked about when the four of us had dinner
Mm-hmm.
was your teaching style and how you connect to kids and how you're teaching them, history, but you're also teaching others with the history. Do you think, because I wish, I'll reiterate this every time, I wish I had you as my history teacher. But my question is, do you feel like they're getting the same impact online? Because I feel like seeing you in person and experiencing your class is probably a thing.
It is.
And so, you better own that.
It is.
You better own that.
Every time I get feedback, it was like, whoa.
Yeah. So are they getting the same thing online? Do you feel like the kids are putting out the same output of work too
Oh,
online?
no.
Okay.
Not even close. And I had to make the shift because it took some time for me to realize that students really only have so much capacity in terms of their ability to push themselves while they're by themselves. Of course, it varies from child to child, but just in terms of let me, build a foundation and help you understand things, there are certain kids that just need you in their space
Yeah.
in order to make them, make
things.
connections and move forward.
Yeah.
And so I had to change how I was teaching, what I was teaching over the course of the year, probably 3 times.
Wow.
And it was just this last term that I was like, okay, I feel comfortable. And so now I'm going to change it a 4th time, going back, because everybody's about to podcast. Like, everything you give me, I want to give them, because what I've realized from podcasting and doing communicating through this way is that it just allows kids choice and freedom around how they communicate what they've learned. And so you might have that kid that doesn't feel comfortable writing. Now, now that we've come into the virtual thing, you have to deal with typing. Most of your kids cannot type. So trying to get, true story. So trying to get them to turn in work in a way, the dexterity, like they don't. Like we don't even have, I remember having in middle school a computer class and typing class. We don't offer that. So the children really, really struggle with being able to type and send your messages and complete.
Because they're doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
they
you go
from
here to here. So being able to even, and I'm not even talking about the swift typing. I'm talking like literal. J is over here, Q is over here. Like there's a general struggle. And so we didn't even realize that until they were at home.
Wow.
So while you're trying to teach them and get them together, you're realizing they also have some deficiencies that are helping them or that are keeping them from being able to communicate with you in a way that is, clear and deft and you can get through it quickly. So I think for those children that presents an issue, so the more ways that I can give them to tell me what they understand about the Texas Revolution, then that allows me to really gauge what they know and not how they're delivering it. Because I'm trying to read through what you're telling me, and because you can't type well, I can't translate what you're saying, and I don't know if you actually understand this concept. So that's me as a teacher struggling with how do I, translate what my kids are trying to tell me and whether or not they really get it.
Wow.
So there are lots of other barriers to educating kids that are not just, do they get it?
Wow.
And so it's been.
I am mind blown.
Yeah. So this podcasting thing for me is like, so now what I'm going to start doing is here's your topic, here's your objective, here are the 3 things you're supposed to learn because we need to keep it simple. Here's what you're supposed to give me. Tell me this stuff at the end of class by giving me an audio recording.
Wow. I was just going to, so you don't mind them like they're podcasting their homework.
Now.
Wow.
Because before, I was like, I don't want to be listening to everybody's stuff, and I don't want to be trying to understand it. You got foolishness in the background, and now this has freed me up so much in the week that I've been doing this that I'm just like, forget writing. We're done. You want to do a video? Here, let me show you how to do a video. So I'm preparing myself to train them how to use our technology so that they can give me a video to explain it. They can give me audio to explain it. Those kids who still want to do a PowerPoint, you're free to do that. But it has freed me up so much that I want to offer that to my kids because for some of them, that could be the thing that's like, poof. So whereas we're sitting here like, oh my God, do they understand it? If taking out typing will help you tell me whether or not you get this topic, let's get rid of typing.
I am fascinated. So in the chat, Shelby says the adjustment period was rough. April says even in other professions, it was rough to teach new employees how to do their jobs virtually. I can't even imagine how hard it was for the children. Thank you, teachers, for all that you do. A-Marie says that we are not teaching the children what we had. They have cut out so many programs, and yet we expect them to succeed.
Like they don't know how to write in cursive. My first year, 2009, teaching children, I had to pass out, never forget this, had to pass out progress reports. So, hey, come up, take your progress report, sign it so that your parents, so I'll know that you got it, bring it back, blah, blah, blah. Kids walking up like, how do I sign? And I'm confused because I'm like, what do you mean? Just sign your name.
This is middle schoolers.
Yeah, 7th grade, sign your name. They're like, I don't know how to write in cursive. I was like, okay, you can just write your name, no big deal. But like, mind blown. I learned how to write in cursive in 2nd grade. And they took it out. They literally took it out of the Texas curriculum, so that's not something. So I'm like, who's teaching them? Who's teaching? So when you become 18 and you need to sign something, like when did you learn that between 7th and 13 and 18? Who taught you? So it's so many, there's so many skills that we have as adults that children are just not, like we've taken it out and they don't have it.
Adriana and Ashlyn, do y'all know how to write in cursive? Adriana doesn't, and Adriana's the younger one.
Thank you.
Ashlyn does know. Ashlyn, you can talk out loud. Ashlyn, you learned from elementary? Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
And thank you again to my goddaughter and her sister for being here. Adriana, they are on our crew officially.
Woo woo.
I've already locked y'all in,
I
so
love
y'all
it.
can't go anywhere.
Because
so.
the thing with technology that I was talking to a friend of mine about, the guy who's on the show, he was pointing out that before like COVID, that this tech thing, this sound thing, this lighting thing was kind of dying out. People weren't taking the time to go to school and learn those things unless that was like your passion.
Yeah.
And this has transformed it to make just basic technology necessary for people.
Absolutely.
So I'm loving seeing that they are here, that
Yeah.
they are, because this is stuff they can earn money doing
Oh,
now
absolutely.
at 16.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I have kids who are like, I have a YouTube channel where I teach other kids how to play certain games, and I give them cheat codes. And I was like, can you slide Cash App $LAT? Like, what are you doing in 8th grade with a YouTube channel and you balling out? So for
Yeah.
them to be able to cultivate these skills at this point
Yeah.
is awesome.
Well, Ashlyn, like, she can edit, like,
Amazing.
Oh my God, just such great
Okay, I'ma
things.
hook up
And
with
like, so you
Ashlyn.
know, she's fantastic at video editing, putting
That's
stuff
awesome.
together, and both of them, like, they both
Definitely.
perform, and so like it's
Awesome.
they're.
Were
they're
these
like
the
dream team.
dancers?
Yeah, they're the dancers.
Oh!
Yes, and that video was put together by them.
God,
On
good
it,
job.
and didn't even touch a computer. It was all on.
On the
She did it on
phone?
her phone.
Oh, my word.
She didn't even touch a computer.
Oh, my word.
It's crazy. It is so
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
Let's see. Shelby says, I wrote out directions in cursive my very first year teaching. They couldn't read it, and it blew my mind. A. Marie says, how are they going to read the documents for the United States and each state?
Yep.
Isaiah says, some high school kids can't either. We will get them back on track with cursive, not just X. Wow.
Yeah.
It is but can I tell you that I think that is fascinating. That if I would have had the choice, now I'm an English. I love to write. Writing was my thing. I could go off in an English or
Right.
history class. That was my thing.
Right, same.
But to know that I would have had the option to give you a podcasted or to do a video of what I learned, like that just blows my mind.
I am praying that it
is
works.
like
I'm praying I can pull it off because
a
we do
form.
have a broadcasting program at our school, and they do the morning announcements. So I reached out to the teacher and was like, hey, is this part of the curriculum at some point? Because I have several kids who are in the broadcasting program. And so I'm like, is this part of the curriculum at some point? Can you tell me, like, are you going to do podcasting so that I can either prepare my kids or, know what sort of skills? She was like, nope, that's not part of what we do. And so I'm like, oh, wow. So I'm excited. Like, I've already planned it. I'm going to have tutorials after school. Come through. Let me teach you how to do video. Let me teach you how to do this, do the podcasting piece for the ones who want to do it. For the ones who are content with writing and they're like, girl, please don't make me use class time to learn this because I'm not interested. You keep rocking out. You got it. But for those kids who want to learn this additional way to share with me, I want to offer that to them. But you're right. And I think that I probably would have taken advantage of it too because I definitely loved writing. But I think that it would have allowed me, if we could have married those two things, have me write, because I don't want them, that's the other thing, I try to push them to write their answers before they give me their answers because I don't want them trying to fly off the dome. I want you to actually think about what you're saying. Make sure your answer is what it's answering the question, and then let's find a way to articulate it and present it. But I think that if we could have found a way to marry how we write well, how do we give them those skills, and then speaking to give them presentation skills, that is the whole thing. And so I'm really, really, really excited to try this, and I hope that it works out the way that I want it to.
It sounds like so in my school, it was regular classes, honors, GT, and then they had like their program IHP, Individual Humanities. What you're doing sounds a lot like what they were doing, like, I mean, of course it wasn't that, but I felt like they were able to be really creative in how they turned work in and how they consumed work. And I think that is...
And that's what we say we want as educators, right? But the thing is that a lot of times teachers aren't... we're given like the tools, but we're not given the time and the what is it called when you're like massaging something to make it all go together, like when you're doing meat? When you're putting the meat together. So we're not given time to massage all of those things with our material so that we can see how they can actually work well. It's like, here's a thing, here's something that works out, this is the way you can do it now, go and figure it out. And then after a while, you're like, I can't find a way to apply that, so it completely goes away. But I do see why those tools are integrated, or they want us to integrate them because it will reach maybe these 5 kids or these 10 kids.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because I'm hoping
exciting.
that 2 or 3 of them will tap in and get it done with me. And just try to see how it works out for them.
But you seem like you said, we've talked about you give your kids the room to have a voice.
Right.
And so I think that is so.
It's scary because you never know what these voices are going to be.
But I think that is so neat.
Like, wait, let me give you some parameters.
You can't say this.
And don't hurt my feelings.
Yes.
Now go.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Latriva. This was such a good conversation.
Yeah.
I am mind blown about this. I would go back to high school to
So
send audio.
My question for you, that I would definitely love that. My question for you is, what topic do you want to discuss when you come over to the couch?
Ooh.
Because it's conversations from the couch.
Conversations from the couch.
So what do you want to talk
I
about?
want to talk about, I definitely want to talk, we definitely talking Married to Medicine.
Oh, for sure.
And RuPaul's Drag Race.
Well, shoot, I'm going to need to get you on the reality piece then.
And RuPaul's Drag
that'll work.
Race.
Okay,
But
that'll
I'll go
work.
back to season 9 because
Okay.
I have
Thank
a memory
you,
of all of it.
child.
Because I'm gonna let you be. I'm gonna let
Be
you
where
be.
I am.
I'm gonna let you do reruns. I'm gonna let you rerun it. No, we're on season 13.
I just finished Bob the Drag Queen,
She said
child.
Bob.
It's bad. It's so
And babe,
bad.
please don't let y'all's pastor get y'all. He just clocked back in for
Look.
RuPaul's Drag Race from season 5. He's been off since season 5.
Don't do that.
And now
Don't
he's
act
clocked
like
back
that,
in.
Leslie. Don't
Now
act
he's
like
clocked
you've
back
been
in.
caught up and then you sitting here with.
Now he's.
Okay, thank you. Catch up. Catch up with me. Thank you.
Candy.
see,
She
I'm not
doesn't know
there
who that is yet.
I'm not there yet. I
She doesn't know who that is.
refuse.
So no, but I would definitely want to talk reality. I
For
want
sure.
to talk spirituality.
Cars.
I
Okay,
want to
cars are good,
talk.
'cause I don't know spirituality.
I want to talk to you and Shelly too about. Is she on? She's on it.
She's not, but she's producing, so she'll be on there. That's
Yeah,
fine.
Shelly, you're gonna be on this. But I also want to know, just as a couple, y'all are just very spiritual, and I think that I want to continue to break down, what that looks like in your home.
Okay. And I definitely wanted to talk to you and Leslie about just ministry as a couple.
Yeah.
Because I think that for her, I think that she is ready
I was
to
gonna say.
move into a new way, not
Yep.
her own church. No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But ready to move into a more, I don't know if it's formal, but a different role in
Yeah.
terms of ministry.
Yeah.
A more outside role
Yeah.
where people see her. Because
Yeah.
right now she's kind of behind the.
Scenes.
So I think she's ready to move into that role as a teacher and that sort of thing. And I don't know how that looks for us. I don't
Yeah.
know how that looks for our relationship.
Yeah.
And then also with you two being so busy, how do you make sure that you come back together? Because it's really challenging.
Challenging.
I am busy away from home. She's busy in home, but it's still busy.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of room for people to feel neglected.
Yes.
And so it's how do you guys do that? So
Yeah.
I've definitely wanted to have you guys on that. But I wanted to know
Absolutely.
what you would want to
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah, no, those are the things I want to talk
Okay,
about.
cool.
Definitely. I'm
Okay.
excited.
Me too.
Yay.
Give me a couple weeks. I
Well,
got you.
SPU, we love you. We will see you next Sunday for Palm Sunday.
Yes.
Be here. It's going to be a great service.
Sunday.
Spring break is over. Bye.
It's not over yet.